This video is going to be about your chart, how to use your chart, how to add indicators, which indicators and settings I have on for my charts so that I can see it the way you're looking at it right now. And to begin, I'm going to show you the time frames that I use. Oh, by the way, I'm not going to go through how each indicator will actually help you in this video. I'm going to go through each type of indicator later in separate videos to save time here. So first of all, if you click on this little thing up here with the dotted lines underneath, you'll see my favorites for my times. By default, they have about 5 saved for you. You can click on edit and then just hit the minus sign for all of them and delete them. And then to add your own, you would click on time frame. You would move these over to whatever you want it to be, then click on the star to get it in your favorite. And then you click on edit and you can pull them up or down using the 3 little lines and grabbing it with your finger. And you just click on done. So I use 1 year, 1 day, 5 days, 5 minutes, 1 day, 1 minute, 20 years, 1 day, 30 days, 15 minutes. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to use a couple of these things in this toolbar on the left. So this first one, or actually this bottom one of this box, the first one I'm going to go over, helps you when you're tapping and holding on the screen. You get this little crosshair that shows you information about whatever candle you're hovering over. Plus it shows you a price off to the left for whatever that line's at. And the day right here. Well, to get rid of that, you would tap on the screen to get this white toolbar to show up, and then you would tap on that little black box and it makes it go away. The next thing I'm going to show you is this little eye icon. It has positions, working orders, alerts, and drawings. Positions and working orders are not very useful for options. I guess if you were actually buying the stock, it would draw a line right where the stock price you're wanting to trade at would be. But for options, it just puts a line down here at the very bottom with the price on it. And it's kind of obnoxious and annoying to me, so I just turn those both off by tapping on the eye so it's shadowed out instead of black like that. Drawings I normally have on, but I just wanted to show you what it does. So drawings gets rid of all your support and resistance lines whenever you turn the eye off. So if you have a lot of lines and you're trying to see a pattern or something and your support and resistance lines are messing with your brain, you can turn them off for a minute without having to delete them. Look at your chart, and then when you're done, you can go back and turn it back on. So now that we've covered those two things, this thing right here is for studies, and you can see I have a bunch of studies on, but there's also another place you can edit that. So I want to go and explain that. This top button is a candlestick pattern here. If you tap on that, that's your styles. Your styles are saved to the server for Thinkorswim on your live trading account, but when you're switching over to paper money, those settings for styles are only saved to that device. So if you're setting it up on your iPad, those settings won't go to your phone. If you set it up on your phone, they won't go to your iPad, but in your actual account that you have real money in, all of that will sync automatically, so you only have to do it once. So once you click on this, I think the first thing that happens when you set up a new thing here, let me skip a couple of steps, is you get a screen like this. So when you get this screen, you're going to name the first one whatever you want to call a bare bones, no indicator chart. I call it a naked chart. You could call it an empty chart, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to hit cancel here. And that's this right here. So the only thing that is on a naked chart or a bare bones chart would be the candles, the volume bars here, and the events. So in order to add those things, once you set the name, you're going to get to this screen. And once you get to this screen, or if you're adding a new one, you would just go to this screen on your normal one, and when you get done, you'd say save as new style. But you're going to want the first thing to say candle. You want volumes to be on. This toggle switch that says calendar events is normally off by default. That adds these little events bubbles. Extended hours, I have that on. I don't remember if it's on by default. Expansion area, I turn that on. What that does is it adds empty space between the current candle and the right side. I like that because it puts the chart a little bit closer to the middle of the screen where it's easier to see. I use between 15 and 20 bars of empty space. You can play around with it and see whatever amount you actually want. You might not like that, you might love it. So try playing around with that number. I do the time frame or default time frame to 1 year, 1 day. And then we're not adding any studies on this naked chart. So you would just hit save style down here. Well, actually, if you've already named it, whatever you want to call it, you would click on done and that will save your changes. Then I would go and click on the edit button again, and we're going to change some more stuff, and then we're going to save it as a new style. But in order to do that, I'm going to go to the one that I actually have set up that way so I can show you exactly what I'm doing. I only have 15 bars on this one, so I'm going to change that to 20 and see if I like it. But you can see all the settings on the top are the same. So coming from your bare bones chart, your naked chart, the top settings are all going to be the same on this one. What we're adding is these indicators, and then when we get done adding all these studies or indicators, we'll save it as a new style, and then you'll have both your bare bones chart and whatever you want to call this one. I called it Maggie's because a lot of these indicators were Maggie's. Now it's Brian's, but whatever. So whenever you see this area down here for the studies, to edit any of these in the future, to add them in the first place, you would click on edit, add/edit studies. And then, because you don't have any of these down here, you would search them. So I'm going to show you how to search them. The first one is a simple moving average. So you would add this button right here. And you can see how it's up here is exactly the same way that you would search it in your search. So just copy what words you see up here, and it'll be the first search result. I'm not going to keep clicking on search study every time. I'm going to show you the settings under these though. So the first setting is simple moving average, and I have 3 of those. I have one that is 100 period moving average, or 100 length. You always default is closed, but that's the one you want. You don't care about these 2 things. The color on the SMA is actually something that you could change for each one. I have green for the 100, yellow for the 200, and blue for the 50. You can do whatever colors you want that will be different than your candles. I recommend not having, I have a green one here, but it's a different color green than my candles slightly, so it doesn't bother me too much. But if you have totally different colors than your other indicators and your candles, that'll be easier to see. So the only difference between these moving averages here is the SMA color, and you can see these are all the default settings, and the length. So you need one to be 100, one to be 200, one to be 50 if you want to copy what I'm doing. And then pick your own 3 colors, or use blue for the 50, green for the 100, and yellow for the 200. Implied volatility is the next one. That's this purple line down here. You add that by typing in IMP and then V, and it should be the first thing that shows up. The settings on that, I just changed it to whatever color this is. That might be the default. Left all that the same as far as I know. If it's like a dash line or something, you can change it to the swirly solid line like I have. And then you want it to say down. If you put it on up, it supposedly puts it on this chart up here, but on the iPad it just kind of breaks right now, so I don't do that. I leave everything on down. So if it gives you the choice to have it up or down, which I think these do too. Oh, the SMAs are up, the implied volatility and the volume average and the ATR are all down. So the volume average, all that does, this right here, the only difference between this and those gray bars is the purple line going through it showing you where the average is. It is actually pretty useful, and I wish you could just throw that over top of the volume up here, which you can on your desktop, but you can't on the iPad. I do that for a 50 period average, and I changed the color to purple on the volume average line. The other one I just left as the default, I believe. And again, that's down. The next one is Bollinger Bands. I honestly never use these for anything at all, but these are the little dotted lines that kind of go around the candlesticks there. These are a Bollinger Band is a variation of using 3 different moving averages. So this one's actually set up as a simple moving average. I have 3 different colors, and then these are the settings that you would want yours to be at. So 0, 20, -2, +2. I think this is default settings. And then the last thing is ATR. I use the whole instead of Wilders, which is the default. It's just a preference. I do it for 14 period, and I have it on the down. I changed the color to a nice gold color here, and that's all I did. Once you get all these styles added, you click on the back button up here. You do not want to hit done because that'll save over your bare bones chart. You want to go down and hit save as new style and then name it something. So I'm actually going to say, yeah, I'll call it this. I don't know if it likes apostrophes or not, but. So even though this is the same settings as my other style here, I just added it. Apparently, I need a shorter name. So if you click on it up here, you can rename it. So I'll just do B default. Click on done here. And then if I click on edit styles, I can delete Maggie's here, even though it's the same thing, and then rearrange these. And tap anywhere off the screen, and that will reorder them in whatever order you want. I also do a thing called Hakinaki. I don't know how to say that. To set that one up, let's just go and edit it real fast. I would click back on your bare bones or naked chart, then click on the settings icon on that here. And when you get to here, the only thing you're changing is this, and you're finding whatever you want to call that. It's like Heikkinen Ashi, and it's a momentum candlestick versus a traditional one, and that can be explained elsewhere, but you would just save as new style, name it whatever you want. I just named it what type of candle I was using. literally everything else is the same as the bare bones chart. So there you go. That's my indicators and how I set them up.